1, 0, and liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Mission Control. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. I've got an exciting episode, a sports-related golf brand episode. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ricky Collado, co-founder and co-owner of Taino Golf.
How's it going?
Ricky, thank you. And your son, Emil.
Emil, yeah.
Emil, welcome. Welcome to the show. Also want to introduce our Director of Web Development, Mr. Jorge Pezo Candelario, who's on the soundboard.
How's it going, everybody? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening in the world today.
All right. Well, you know, this is going to definitely be a global episode with the global brand and the man behind the brand. Ricky, everybody wants to launch a brand. I mean, that's what we do. Our mission is like we launch brands and we help people start, but it's not easy. And I wanted you to kind of share with our listeners, get right to the gold of what's it like to bring a brand to market, such as Taino Golf.
Well, I think the number one thing is it's messy.
Yeah.
Messy. You have to be ready to be messy. I also do a little bit of entrepreneurship coaching. And one of the biggest things I see is that first, there's too much planning going on, right? Because it's got to be perfect. And then there's this fear of taking this leap of putting the product in front of the potential customer. Mm-hmm. And until you do that, you actually don't know if you have the right product, right? And so you just got to get out there. Sometimes you have to go with the easiest little product, maybe even a prototype, a picture of it. Right, and just put it in front of somebody and say, you know, tell me about this. Would you buy this? You know, or I'm selling this. I'm looking for orders, right? And maybe you don't actually have it, but if you can get 10 orders, then you can go make it.
Right.
So, I disappeared.
Emil, when your dad disappears, and that's when you come in.
Yeah. So I think it's it's getting the idea first, mm-hmm. Some quick feedback on the idea, and then getting a quick prototype together, getting feedback on that, and getting it out to market as soon as you can. I think when it comes to fashion, maybe, or a product, maybe there's a white label option, right? Something that doesn't carry a brand name that you can brand and then put it out in front that you feel is close to what would be your true product that you want to sell, mm-hmm. right? And then see if it sells.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we did. We actually took a trip to Puerto Rico. I would say the start date for us is March 1st. We took a trip to Puerto Rico in May to meet people in the golf industry. We had hats and towels. That's all I had. And then I had some blank shirts that I put Taino Golf on. And I went out there and I was like, hey, I'm selling Taino Golf shirts. Well, what's your styles? We don't know yet, but we're selling some.
We'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Well, we want to know if you guys will buy.
You're right.
And we took a briefcase, a suitcase full of hats and towels and driver head covers, because those were things that we could get, somewhat on the low side, not a big investment. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing let's say $10,000 in marketing, I invested in these products that had our name on it and a trip to Puerto Rico.
Right.
And we just literally drove the island and put this product in front of people, put the name in front of people, and would you buy it? We sold everything that was in the suitcase.
Wow.
And we got shirt orders. And then so the thing after that was like, okay, we got to order some shirts.
That's a good problem to have. I mean, there's so many gems. One of them is like the idea that if you build it, they will come. You don't have to produce the product first, prototyping it, get the interest. This is all about what we call like the MVP, like what's
Correct.
The minimum viable product,
yep.
Right? Like what the most cost-effective way that I could test the market, get feedback. We got to get these in Rafa Campos's hand, man. I mean, he's
there's an interesting story there.
Okay.
We did meet up when we went on that trip.
Yeah,
we met Rafa Campos. We were in Club Deportivo in Cabo Rojo, and we were meeting up with a group that does a podcast in Puerto Rico on golf. And one of the guys goes, "Oh, that's Rafa Campos." I'm like, "What?" I grabbed two hats and I went over. I'm like, "Hey, Rafa Campos." Da, da, da. We took pictures, So the hats, he's got hats and he's
Very
got some
cool.
ball markers. Oh, that's the other thing we did. We did ball markers with our QR code on it.
Very nice.
So that was like our business. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I do Taino Golf. Here, boom. So it's something that's related to the
We lost.
and when somebody makes an order, I put that in value added, So yeah, we did meet Rafa Campos. That was pretty cool that first go around.
I saw him I was able to go to the Masters this year, and I was hanging out by the trophy room, and where they come in and out, and I saw him go by. Of course you yell at them, but those guys are in the zone.
Big time.
They're in competition mode. But it was nice to see him there, because he has an interesting story too. Like he almost gave up on it and
right.
Had a resurgence later in life. So we're definitely proud of him. Are you guys from Puerto Rico?
No, I think that's what makes the brand, or that's what was kind of the motivation behind the brand. That I was born in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Me was born in North Carolina. My wife is born in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's Puerto Rican from Lajas.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's from San Lorenzo. My mom happens to be Colombian, so I grew up kind of with that mix in New Jersey.
Yep.
But it's not losing the tie to the roots.
Right.
That was kind of this motivation behind the brand. Is Emil playing events, junior events, and realizing like I'm not like everybody else in the field. Mm-hmm. I guess like when we were growing up, maybe it was like listening to Dave Matthews versus listening to
Eric B or something.
Or Quinito Mendez or something.
Mendez, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So his thing was like, I like listening to salsa and reggaeton when I play. I want something that represents that,
Yeah, definitely. We bring some flavor to the game for sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, my nephew Emilio Garcia Jr. He plays for FAMU. I think he's a sophomore this year.
Wow.
Dominican, but up and coming. Definitely would be great. Taino, yeah, absolutely. 100%. 13% once I sent my DNA out, but that's another story.
We working with a guy here that he's Jonathan Ortiz. He's a little bit older, but he played FAMU as well.
Okay, excellent. Listen, man, you dropped some gems. I think the recap is that don't wait, for things to be perfect before you get it out. You don't need to order a bunch of merchandise if you're launching a brand. You can prototype it. I think the gem there of the white labeling, like buying some good high quality white label shirts with no brand and you put your brand on it, very cost effective way, made to order, short run. I think a lot of people forget to get the feedback,
Absolutely.
They might love it, and it's like, well, let's see if your market that you're targeting is going to love it.
Right.
Absolutely, man. Listen, we're going to take
the feedback has adjusted how we brand our shirts as well.
Absolutely.
So the feedback is super important.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the designs. I saw them at Eagle Creek, which is Emilio's course. So, that was very cool to see that you had a very nice display in there. So we're going to talk about that and who's in charge of that and how that happens. I think that'll be very educational. So definitely inspired. When we come back after these words, we want to hear all about how you created this brand.
At Peralta Design, social causes are very important to us. One of our trusted community partners and clients is Catalyst CT. Catalyst CT believes in social change that creates a lasting impact on community well-being. Catalyst CT tackles the tough issues that youth, families, and communities often face by preventing street violence, mediating and resolving conflict, improving school climate, boosting mental health, and planting the seeds for a healthy, safe, and restorative life. For more information on Catalyst CT, visit catalystct.org.
We want brands.
And we're back. Please join me once again in welcoming Ricky Collado and his son Emil, the co-founder and co-owner of Taino Golf.
Yeah, and I say co-founder and co-owner only because I always include Emil as the other founder, the other owner, right?
Nice.
So all of this has been driven because of him. I got into golf because of him. Um, and then I actually, so we only been playing about gonna be 8 years, I think. Um, and I was a teacher at one point, and I started my own consulting business doing trainings. And like I said before, I do entrepreneurship coaching as well. I'm really good at understanding how people learn. So when COVID hit, an academy that was close by, we became familiar with them and knew them through him. I asked him, hey, I'm not a pro, but I understand what it's like to start golf, and I know how to coach. I know how to train people. I know how to educate people. Do you think I'd come work for you guys? Do summer camps. And so the guy was like, oh, I never thought about getting somebody from the education side that to learn golf and teach golf rather than a golf pro. And I had kind of been working with them a little bit because they'll have like a group of 12 kids, and I see like being a classroom teacher, there was a lot of things that made me cringe. I'm like, okay, if you had stations set up,
Right.
and you have 4 kids at each station, these kids wouldn't be running around wild like this,
Classroom management.
Classroom management. That's exactly what it was. So I had already kind of been like working with them because I'm like, I see this and I see that, and I gave him little tips about the classroom management type stuff. So when I reached out, he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I had heard a podcast one time that said, don't be afraid to be a teacher of something just because you're not a master of it. Sometimes being intermediate, being real close to the novice, gives you a leg up because you're not talking like a master, right? You're talking like them. And so when I work with kids, I say things about the swing in ways that they can understand. I'm not talking about, what is it, spine angle,
Right,
and
right.
your lower. There's some things I'm still like your lower your back. I don't know the terms. The lower serratic back, whatever. I don't know, whatever they say.
The kinematic sequence and all that. Oh.
Gonna look at you like, what are you talking about, right? Like, I just want to smack the ball. So so I actually started doing that, and then that got us to go to the PGA show a couple years in a row. And I remember it was I think it was 2024 coming out of the PGA show. And Ramon, you've been there, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
PGA
huge.
show,
Huge.
I mean, you probably, without stopping, it take you 20, 25 minutes to walk from one end to the other, right? So he just happens to mention, he says, Bubby, this place is, there's so much in golf, so much golf stuff in this space. It's not that I necessarily like feel out of place, but what in here represents who I am as a golfer? So I said, well, who are you? What does that mean? Like, where we're going with this? So he said, well, like, I'm Latino. I feel like I'm Puerto Rican. There's not a lot of people where I play that's like that, They listen to Jimmy Buffett, and I want to listen to Daddy Yankee and Bad Bunny, So I said, all right, well, we kind of got talking, and we said, well, maybe we don't make it like about Puerto Rico. Maybe it's something that's Caribbean. And one of the things that we kind of talked, and it was a really good discussion. It was deeper than the brand. It was more about identity, right? But one of the things that we kind of talked about was like, I'm not Puerto Rican because I wasn't born in Puerto Rico. I said, but you have the blood in you. And so it kind of brought me to Taino and talking about Tainos and the natives and this and that. So I said, what if it was Taino Golf? Because now that includes the larger Caribbean versus just the island of Puerto Rico. And so we kind of, all right, this and that was good. We actually we came up with the idea. I came up with a couple different logos, and we actually shelved it for a couple weeks. And a contract that I had, I got news that it was going to be like cut in half. Like what I was depending on for the year was actually not going to be there. I think that's a point where a lot of people would have said, well, we definitely got to table this, because if funds are not coming in, how are we going to fund it? How are we going to put money to it? But I'm a little bit crazy. You got to be a risk taker in entrepreneurship. And I actually looked at it the other way. I said, well, if I'm going to spend less time there and less money's coming in, I have to find where am I going to put my time? And I've got to find a way to get money to come in. And also, if I go get a temporary job, that's temporary. If I can build something, then no matter when I get these other contracts, if they cut it in half or if it falls through, I've got something there supporting us.
Right.
So we took the leap, and we started. We came up with a couple of different logos. We ended up on the Taino sun with the golf ball in the middle instead of the face. I found this font and created it, and we all kind of agreed on it. I had an idea for a pattern, which is the pattern we have under the hat here. And so that's like, okay, these are our signature things. At some point, these things pop up on our shirt or a towel or whatever. These are going to be our signature. And we kind of, took off from there. And then it's been great because he was 17. He was a junior in high school. This is a conversation I have, I don't know about you, Ramon, but when I was 17, I was not worried about having conversations like that. I was worried about girls and cars.
Yes.
And so it was impressive to me that he's thinking about these things,
Right.
Right. And it was a good opportunity, I think. We had always talked about stuff because I was doing the entrepreneurship coaching, and I already had my own business consulting and stuff like that. And so we had always talked about business. And so now here was an opportunity for him to be my partner, to come with me on sales calls, to get exposure. And I think another level is I'm the son of a plumber. I've been passed up in certain professions because of this new guy who's his dad, right? Who his dad got him over here.
Right.
I never had that, and so here I have this opportunity along with like that I started coaching golf, and now with the Taino Golf, I have this opportunity to start opening doors because he's, this is his passion. He says, Papi, I want to do golf. Whatever it is, I wanted golf to be part of it. So then, I said, okay, well, then I don't have all these contacts in golf. So let me start figuring this out. So a lot of it is, let's go open doors. Let's go get you to meet people. So now if you're a co-owner or co-founder and we're in a meeting, you're in the meeting with me and people are seeing you and they're talking to you. And you can see he doesn't say much. But when we get on the course, his clubs do all the talking, and then people start chatting him up.
Right.
Oh, man, that was pretty good. Hey, you played good. And they that's his kind of, if we can get people on the golf course with him, then he starts waking up.
He's probably hitting it like 300 yards, right? At least.
Yeah, he'd get a couple in there, 300, about 290 to 300, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
To be young and flexible.
Oh, listen, when I grew up in New Jersey, we didn't have cable, and I swear every Sunday was just golf on every channel. And so I had a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, no.
It's great for taking naps,
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Like back then, like now they talk a little bit more live, but like I remember
whispering. All the commentators are whispering.
Golf is like ASMR for like dad naps.
And you wake up again, and it's still going. So.
And it's still going. Yeah. So I just had for a long time I said no. Even my dad had one time came home with a set of clubs. I'm like, what's that for? I'm not playing. Mm. And it wasn't until my brother-in-law plays and a guy from work was playing, and so he kind of saw that, he took interest, and he bugged me. He bugged the heck out of me. And I said, I found a first tee clinic summer camp Tuesdays and Thursdays at a local course, and so I took him, and it was like $50 for the summer. And I said, let's start here. Mm-hmm. A buddy of mine gave us a couple, oddball clubs or whatever. He kind of pieced together a set. And I started talking to the pro there to get a couple lessons. I said, well, if he's going to play, I got to understand the game at least.
Right.
So, and then next thing you know, right now, all of my income is generated through golf right now. 8 years later,
That's awesome.
So not only do we have the Taino Golf, but the academy that I started working with, I have since taken over the academy. So I'm a 90% owner on the Little Linksters Golf Academy. So I run that along with Taino Golf.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Emil, so what's your role besides modeling the clothes? Do you give your dad insight as to, because what I love about this partnership is that there's guys, your dad and my age, that love to golf, and then there's a younger movement that's playing golf, and it's a bit more casual, and I feel like you guys are reaching those two demographics. Tell me a bit about your input with strategy or designs in that nature.
I try to give my input on different designs that he tries to come up with, and try to help out with like different color patterns. And then I help a lot with the website and some different ideas on how we can market up all the accessories that we come up with. There's a sale going on right now for buy two shirts and get a half free. I brought that to his attention one day, and it was like, we should go out there, put a sale like this, and see how it goes. So he was like, all right, we'll try it out. And
love it.
so I help out with those, and I mean, other than that, I just play golf, try to show off the brand.
Yeah. What's your handicap?
About a 1.5.
What? Oh man! Holy mackerel! Yeah. Scratch. They call that
pretty much.
They call that a scratch, man. That's great.
Right.
That's amazing. And what's your strong point? Putting or driving or all around? Good skills.
I mean, it's a little bit different every day.
Yeah. Whatever shows up that day. Yeah.
That's golf.
But try to really focus on practicing mainly the short game.
Yeah.
Try to keep that up as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You drive for show, you putt for dough.
Right.
That's what they say. Awesome. Yeah. And Dad, tell me a bit about. I want to get into the distribution channels, but in the opening segment, you talked about coming to market. But now that you had the demand and you had the brand, what were some of the early pitfalls, maybe, in trying to get into stores? Did you face a lot of rejection? Was it easy?
Yeah. So. That's interesting because there's areas in the U.S., for example, even here, like in the area you were, Eagle Creek, right? St. Cloud, Royal St. Cloud. They fly the Puerto Rican flag at Royal St. Cloud. But the head pro and the GM are both American, white guys, right? So they don't know the cultural aspect of Taino Golf. They just see some guy of a brand they never know, maybe blowing smoke. What could they? It just, I'm gonna tell you, it so happens that the head pro at Royal St. Cloud, his wife is Puerto Rican, and he goes, "So this is like Puerto Rican based?" He say, "Yeah." All right, give me a second. He calls her out. He says, "Take a look at this." She goes, Taino Golf. Oh my God. She goes, "Babe, the guys would love this here." I said, "Oh my God. You can't make this any perfect, Yeah. But I think having the cultural aspect. So when I do a shirt design, I have shirts like, for example, this shirt is very much, it has a cuatro on it. It has the Vejigante mask on it. It has the hibiscus on it. People like it. People that like loud shirts and happy shirts kind of like it. But then I'll have a shirt like this that is pretty general, still tropical, but it doesn't necessarily, anybody might pick up this shirt.
Right.
You might pick up this shirt because it has a coquille on it or whatever, so I try to keep a balance of designs that could go mainstream, but also still don't lose that cultural touch to it. Right. So I think the other thing is learning the lingo, right? You go into a place and you think you know sales, but you don't know apparel or you don't know golf industry. And then people ask you a question and you're like, "That's a good question. Let me write that down. I'm gonna have to get back to you." And then in the car, you're Googling, color matching. What is that? Right? So but I think that goes back to the messy part.
Right.
Just get out there and get in front of somebody I open at a golf course 3 days a week, right? And people say, well, why are you doing that? Well, one, I can wear my apparel, and it's a huge promotion for me for that. And that's the same course where I run the junior academy. So both things I'm promoting while I'm working. But also, I can pick my GM's brain, right? So if I go on a sales call, I can come out, hey, I had a conversation with another GM and they said this, this, and this. What does that mean? Or what would that, what was it? Pre-booking. I had to learn about pre-booking. So I went to my GM and said, hey, man, what's pre-booking? He's like, oh, well, that's easy. Like Bridgestone, I have to buy X amount for the year to have certain status. So they basically spread out the orders throughout the year, and I just know that's coming and I'll have to pay it, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of base it out based on sales of previous years. Oh, okay. So so there's a lot of different ways to learn, but if you don't go out there, you're not gonna. Google can only do so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So I think the big thing was the sales. Was I wasn't worried about getting the rejection, because when I went into every location or talked to somebody, I went in as if it was going to be a learning experience, mm-hmm. right? And so then you're not worried about a no, because what could you take away from that?
Right, you're still winning.
You're still winning. Yeah. I think there's another piece too with the sales. If you go in as a learning, right? So when I went in, I wasn't going in to pitch Taino Golf. When I went in, I was going in to find out, how do they make decisions about the apparel they carry in the store? Those are two different approaches, right? So if I go in to sell Taino Golf, I get a hard no and maybe even a hand to the face, push you out the door, right? You get the like, well, I used to you do other sales, you get the gatekeeper stops you.
Correct.
Right? The pro shop attendant says, oh, no, we're good. Now, if I go in and I say, hey, I wanted to know how you guys make decisions about the apparel you carry in your store. Oh, yeah, you got to talk to our GM. Here, let me go introduce you to him. You guys have to ask him how he does it. So I got a lot more to the GMs, a lot more to the pros.
Yeah.
And then they're just conversations. They're not, and if you happen to like what I got, great. Otherwise, I've learned from you. This way I could take that to another course.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, taking the trip to Puerto Rico was a huge leap, to think that I could go over there and talk to everybody on the island that's in golf. I mean, I was hoping somebody would have interest in it,
Absolutely.
But we take it as a learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how do you go about having a display like the one at Eagle Creek? How does that happen?
Well, we have a unique. So there's another, unique relationship with Eagle Creek. We actually do everything on consignment there. We do 90-day terms with them. So what I do is every 2 to 3 months, I go over there, do inventory, I bill them for what they sold, mm-hmm. and I'll restock.
So it's like having your own little kiosk inside of there.
Absolutely, and I don't have to put personnel. I don't have to man it. Right, so. They have their own SKUs. I tell them this is what I'm charging you for it when it sells. This is what I would charge for it, because it's what I sell it for on my website. Mm-hmm. And so they put those out there, and it's been a pretty good learning, because I can see what sells, what doesn't sell. Mm-hmm. It's safe for them because they don't have to pay up front, and they only pay for what they sell. And if at the end of 90 days I want to just pick everything up, I can. They actually we just came out with a rash guard, so you can wear it in the spring, like when it's cooler, a long sleeve sun shirt. And they saw me post that on Instagram, and the guy texted her, hey, how come we don't have those in our store?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah. So now there, it was a great relationship, because the merchandise manager, he's actually also from New Jersey. He actually went to school. So I'm part of a Latin fraternity, and so
not the Lambdas, are you?
Lambda Theta Phi, yeah.
Lambda Theta Phi. I'm an Alpha.
Yeah, I saw that on your profile. Yeah,
but I got some good friends that are Lambdas. That's pretty solid.
That's why I have a brown and white hat.
Yeah.
So we got into a good conversation. So that was another in this hat, this particular style, not necessarily that is brown and white, but this style with the Taino Golf is like a billboard. Mm-hmm. So I wear that to all of his events. I wear that to every golf course, and always somebody will come up to me. And it just so happened at Eagle Creek that a Puerto Rican guy that works the cart barn came up. He said, "Oh, what's this with Taino Golf? You know, this and that." And I said, "Yeah, this, it's a new brand. We're working on it." He said, "Well, the merchandise manager here is new. He's Dominican." I said, "Oh yeah, yeah. Let me introduce you to him. Come on." So then we kicked it off. So he happens to be from New
Nice.
Jersey. He happens to know some of my fraternity brothers, and
Yeah,
he's
because you
like
guys had a lot of brothers at Rutgers.
at Rutgers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
Yep.
I don't know if you know Virgilio. Virgilio Lopez went to Rutgers. He's a good friend of mine. He's a Lambda.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm not familiar. I know from Rutgers. I know Jorge Avila.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a big tournament at Eagle Creek, which is what I was there for, with the Lambdas and the Alphas.
Yes.
It
Yes.
happens in September, and
Right.
there's a big the Alphas of Orlando helped start the Lambdas.
The Lambdas there, yeah.
So they have this special bond,
Right.
and it's a great tournament, which is crazy because I Emilio's a ringer. He's also like a scratch golfer, so I put him in my foursome, and of course we won first place. And on one of the holes, there was a woman taking photos, and she saw Emilio swing, and she's like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's just my nephew." And she went up to him and said, "Where are you going to school?" And he was like, "I don't know, maybe a community college or something." And she said no, and she knew the coach at FAMU,
Okay.
and connected him. And Emilio, kudos to him. He had his golf resume ready to go, and he knew all the NCAA standards and everything, and had the grades. And next thing you know, he's on a scholarship, and
Wow.
and they're winning. But
Yeah.
being at the right place at the right time, the fraternity network, all
Right.
the relationships,
Yeah.
being there, being aggressive. You couldn't have done this without being physically there.
You have to be there, and you have to knock on doors, and you have to be. I think changing the mindset of am I going to be okay with rejection versus what can I learn from this next interaction,
That's
right?
huge.
And so, I mean,
Say that again for our listeners.
it's changing the mindset of being afraid of the rejection versus what can I learn from this next interaction.
Amen.
And I
huge.
think
Like mindset in and of itself and reframing that is so powerful. And I don't think people, the everyday person, the aspiring entrepreneur, they don't realize the power of that until it comes around to them. And that particular lesson is huge.
Yeah. And Emil, me and your dad, we're old school, so we know about rejection. When we back in the day, we had to go ask the girl
yeah,
if she wanted to dance with us. We couldn't text her. We couldn't, we couldn't do
we
it
didn't
privately.
slide into her DMs.
No, we couldn't go to the DMs. You had to dance your way to her and then dance your way away when you got rejected and keep trying. And you and your boys would be like, "How many numbers you get tonight? How many numbers you get tonight?"
Yeah.
And it would take a lot of rejection to get a couple numbers. So
yeah.
you build a thick skin.
I think it's overall you have to be a learning change your mindset to a learning mindset.
Yes.
And change statements to questions.
Yes.
Because when you start asking questions, people start opening up and they start sharing, and then you learn, right? So then you learn, who do you have to talk to, because maybe the head pro is not the decision maker, right? Maybe it's a general manager. It so happens at Eagle Creek that they have a big junior academy, right? That's associated with Golf Pass. They saw my shirts inside and gave me a call, and I said, "How many coaches you got here? Wear the shirts," right? And they get, because they wear them every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they're my billboards out there, right? So we've learned a lot. I think he's learned a lot. Just being able to get out there, ask questions, talk to people. Where he knows wearing the stuff attracts people.
Yeah.
Oh, Taino. Sometimes we went on a cruise and we put this, and people, we wear these hats and hey Taino.
Yeah.
So it's there. The part's there. Now I think with us is kind of like grassroots. We're growing this organically. We don't have a big marketing budget, so we're learning some of the different ways of marketing, whether it be through tournaments or online. We're using trying to do like affiliate marketing. And Emil came up and he said, I don't think we need to go after people that have 100,000 followers. He started telling me about micro influencers.
Right.
I didn't know what this was, right? So he says, well, micro influencers might have 5,000 or 7,000 followers, but they get more engagement with
Yes.
those 5 or 7,000.
Yes.
So we start looking, okay, I can see what this is. Let's do this. Let's talk to this person. So we might offer like a little intro pack with like a shirt and a hat. They do an unboxing. We offer them a code for their followers, 15% off, plus, their regular type of affiliate deal. And then they put us out there. So then we get to share their
content.
I think that's a good way to get content quickly without you having to do the content.
And it's real. It's
absolutely.
It's authentic content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you ever feel that the name is too limiting in any way?
No, because I've had Haitians come up to me. I've had Jamaicans come up to me. I've had Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans. It's Caribbean. Interesting story that we have a Kenepa shirt. Golf shirts are fruit shirts. They got pineapples. They got mangoes, coconuts, whatever, right? And so I say, you know what? I bet you there's no Kenepa shirt. We're gonna make one. So I looked and looked and looked. No. So I made the Kenepa shirt, and when I got the design, I shared it with a couple people, and I said, "What do you guys think about this? Can you tell what it is? Is it, oh yeah, those are Kenepas. It's cool." And then almost everybody I showed it to said, "But will everybody get it?"
Mm.
That was actually the feedback I was looking for, Ramon.
Yeah.
Because it's not for everybody to get.
Right.
I have a market, right? El que sabe, sabe. If you know, you know. Right? And so I actually wore that shirt on the cruise, and there was a lady that we started talking to, whatever, and she goes, "Are those Caneps on your shirt?"
Caneps.
I said, yeah, where are you from? She's like, "I'm Haitian."
Yeah.
And that's what they call them
Caneps. Yeah.
And so she said, "I'm Haitian." I said, she said, "I love your shirt. I got to get one for my husband." So I think if people associate Taino with Puerto Rican, then that could be. But we went with Taino because we know it's the larger Caribbean,
yes.
Right? And so there are shirts because we are Puerto Rican. We have Puerto Rican descent. there are going to be some shirts that like, okay, that's more of a Puerto Rican, whatever. But I try to keep it as much as possible. Caribbean
island vibe, yeah.
Island vibe,
Caribbean, yeah. That's great. I love it because the game itself has gotten. When we were growing up, maybe we didn't have the access to it that our young people have to it now. And also what comes along with access is comfort level of your swag, your gear, who you are. Like, you don't have to, like, when I used to play, I've been playing for about 25 years, and Tiger Woods at one point was the only person that I remember of color playing that was good. And right. So I always felt like, I was doing such an exclusive thing, like being on a golf course, and I would go out of my way to say hello to the groundskeepers because they were always Latino, and I would just talk to them in Spanish and yep. wave to them and be very kind to them. Now it's changed. Now when I go out, I see a lot more people of color playing, which is great for the game. And we're seeing a lot more champions. Jonathan Vegas is another one that I like.
Yeah.
Varner. There's just so many now that you can find a favorite, and it's representation matters,
Absolutely.
And keeping the culture alive is important. Yeah. I love it. So
I like your question, Ramon, about the niche market, because I think that's another pitfall that entrepreneurs have. When you ask them who their target market is, they're afraid to give you a specific group.
Yep.
Everybody's my target market. That's a lot of marketing dollars if you're going to market to everybody.
And if it's everybody, it's nobody. That's what I say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I found, and this is your entrepreneurial mind working, right? One of the things I found was I found avenues to market to golfers, and I found avenues to market to Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or Cubans or Islanders, but I couldn't find an avenue to market to Caribbean golfers. Right? So let's say and if there's somebody out there that's really good at this, they got a free idea. But somehow creating that tie, there's some offering where you could say, here's how we can get to Caribbean golfers, right? So we've done events that were mainly Puerto Rican or Latino. We've done events that were golf events. We're getting into more where we're doing events that are Latino golf events, which are there's a lot going on. But I think that's something that I found even as I went marketing and say, okay, like on Instagram, for example, who's your, how do you, well, I want somebody that's interested in the Caribbean and golf, right? So can they do that for me, or is it one or the other?
Yeah, and I think like you're doing those sleeves, I think sun protection or doing like the bigger hats, maybe even doing some, like some Jibaro hats that are for golf.
Yeah.
To keep yeah, exactly. That's a free idea for you, no charge. So why don't you tell us how our listeners and viewers can find your gear, which stores, any new products coming out, or just share all your handles so people know how to reach you.
Yeah, we made it easy. So everything is taino.golf. So the website is taino.golf, Instagram, taino.golf, Facebook, TikTok, taino.golf. So that's actually something we've been talking about. We've got the Shopify e-commerce at taino.golf. We are in select golf stores in Orlando and in Puerto Rico. We do some of the, actually a big event that's coming up where you guys can find us. If anybody sees this in the DC area, we're going to be at the DC Rican. If you guys ever heard of that, this is their area, and obviously it's a lot of Latinos. It started with mainly Puerto Ricans, but now it's a lot of different Latinos, but it's called the DC Rican. So we're actually providing them, we're doing a shirt that they've ordered through us specific. It has, it's kind of inspired by our Taino pattern, but we threw in there like the Washington Monument, the Capitol building, so it has elements of the island and DC. So that's a big event we got coming up. So a lot of it is, ordering, seeing the tournaments, our website, we're looking at getting TikTok up and running soon, to be able to shop on there. And like I said, couple pro shops in Orlando and in Puerto Rico.
Excellent. Well, listen, man, Ricky, Emil, thank you for being on the show. Emil, keep striping that ball and kicking people's butts and repping the brand. I'm proud of you and your thought process. Your dad's building legacy, but you're right in line. You definitely are a co-founder already. I love what you're doing with the brand and keeping the culture alive and our Taino ancestors that are getting forgotten. You're bringing them back right into the spotlight. So I really love that.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.